Breaking news. The Allied forces have successfully invaded the beaches of Normandy, France. In the early morning of June 6, the Allied forces attacked the heavily fortified beaches of Normandy. They used boats to get up to the beaches while under heavy fire from the Axis powers. According to our informant, the invasion was scheduled to commence on June 5th, but the weather was too bad. After a long and bloody battle, the Allied forces came out successful, but around 160,000 Americans were killed or wounded. This is Frank, signing.
Today with Commandant Jones. Hello, Commandant Jones. How are you today?
Pretty good.
Are you, well, we're going to have a few questions for you. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's good.
Are you holding Jews against their will?
No.
Then what does this camp hold?
Prisoners, yes,
Are
prisoners.
they being tortured?
No.
Then what is this burning smell that I'm smelling?
Burning wood for the, holding houses. Yeah.
Commandant Jones, stop lying to us.
Fine. We are exterminating the pests of the world to make the perfect race.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the real truth about the concentration camps. Back to you, Joe.
I wasn't lying.
Hey, Ogden, Utah. We will go to Dan now for the interview. Take it away, Dan.
So Austin, as you said, we're here with John Browning. Hello, John. How are you today?
I'm doing just fine today.
All right, so we're going to ask you a few questions.
Okay,
First question.
shoot away.
How many weapons do you think are being made for the war?
I'd say about 250
It's quite a
million.
few.
Nah, not really.
Sarcasm won't be necessary.
Oh, dang.
Next question. How do you feel about the war between the Allies and the Axis powers?
Well, I feel these are troubling times for America, but I think we will pull through. On the bright side, I've been making even more money than usual.
Alrighty, moving on. The next question is how many models of weapons did you design?
I designed about 9 of the models that are being used in the war.
That sounds like a good amount.
It is. I personally designed them, and then the workers in the factory made them.
Alrighty then. Now this is the final question, sadly.
Okay.
I know, it's quite sad. Let's just get it over with.
Okay.
So, how many deaths are caused by your designs and your Glocks?
The Glocks have seemed to be the biggest sellers, so they might have the biggest death count. I really had no way of telling. I really thought it would be a machine gun that was the biggest seller, but no, it was the Glock pistol.
Well, we're out of time.
On Nards. But don't you have any more questions?
Nope, the live feed will be ended shortly.
The United States Marine Corps started to trade Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima is an island off the southern coast of Japan. The U.S. needs the island for the airfield. The U.S. is having difficulty getting the island because the Japanese have developed underground tunnels and bunkers that can see on the surface, and they are shooting the Marines on the shores. The raid started when the U.S. started to bomb the shores of Iwo Jima. Then they stopped, and B-29 bombers started to bomb the island. After the planes stopped, the naval ships continued to bomb the shores. We took the southern tip of the island, the summit of Mount Suribachi. This is Bob, signing off.
You ever wondered what weapons are used in the war? Do you think that some countries have better tanks than others? Here to settle the dispute is Joe, tank expert. So, Joe, what do you have to say?
Well, John, lots of tanks have weaknesses and advantages. Take the KV-2. It has a huge 152mm gun, but has a slow reload.
In your opinion, what is the best tank?
I would say the German Tiger or King Tiger. They had great armor and a good gun. Most Tiger tanks of that time had an 88mm gun.
Why do you say the Tiger tank is better than the American M4 Sherman?
I say this because it took 7 M4 Shermans to take out Erwin Rommel's Tiger 1.
Are there different classes of tanks?
There are 5 different classes of tanks. These are heavy tanks, medium tanks, light tanks, tank destroyers, and artillery.
Well, what is the difference?
Normally, heavy tanks are slow with good armor. Medium tanks are somewhat fast and have okay armor. Light tanks have light armor and are very fast. Artillery or artillery shoots from a long way away in an arc. Tank destroyers are made to destroy tanks, which is fairly obvious.
You sure know your stuff.
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Joe, for coming in, and I hope the public is informed. John Smith, signing off.
News. Today, the U.S. Marines have taken over Iwo Jima and annihilated the rest of the Japanese resistance on the island. This was accomplished by the U.S. Marines sending in different troops to take out pockets of the Japanese resistance left on the island. We needed the island for airfields, even though we have already been operating on the island since March 9th. The death tolls of the battles are still unknown.
The United States Army just dropped a large bomb on the city of Hiroshima. We estimate that the atomic bomb exploded nearly 19,000 feet above Hiroshima because the firing system went off too early. Scientists say that the bomb's blast was equivalent to 15 to 20,000 tons of TNT. There's approximately 70,000 people dead and lots more expected to die from radiation poisoning. People are getting radiation from the rain that has fallen containing ash, smoke, and radiation from the bomb. 60,000 to 90,000 buildings in the city are heavily damaged or completely destroyed. The blast was so hot that clay roof tiles melted together, bodies were either turned to carbon or instantly vaporized. The blast also left shadows of people and buildings in stone. The United States Army spent over $2 billion in research for the atomic bomb. The code name for the project was the Manhattan Project, or Little Boy. An American scientist named Albert Einstein discovered the main ingredient of the bomb, uranium. Uranium is a highly explosive element when its two atoms are split. The plane that carried the bomb was a B-29 bomber that was modified so it could carry the 8,000-pound bomb. The crew was so worried that the plane would crash, they took the arming pin out. The crew decided to take the pin out because many B-29 bombers have crashed in the days before when they were taking off the runway. The bombing went according to plan, and today many Americans are hoping Hitler will surrender.